Welcome back to Real Family Secrets. Sometimes the truth does not come from a message, a receipt, or a stranger. Sometimes it comes from your child, showing you vacation photos because she is too innocent to know what they mean. My wife told me she was taking our 8-year-old daughter on a girls' trip with friends. When my daughter came home, she showed me pictures from the beach. In one of them, a man had his arm around my wife. My daughter smiled and said, "That's Uncle David. My name is Peter Lawson, and I had never seen Uncle David before in my life." Naomi and I had been married for 10 years. We met at a neighborhood restaurant where I was waiting for takeout, and she was arguing politely with the cashier over a missing order. She had ordered soup. The cashier gave her a sandwich. "I know this is not a national emergency," she said, "but I am hungry enough to make it one." I laughed. She turned around, looked at me, and said, "You think this is funny?" "A little." "Then you can buy me a coffee while I wait for the correct food." So I did. Naomi worked in communications for a non-profit organization. I worked in procurement for a regional hospital network. Our life was not extravagant. A modest house outside Raleigh, a used SUV, a kitchen table covered in school papers, a dog named Mabel who barked at every delivery truck as if she were protecting national security, and our daughter, Ellie. Ellie had Naomi's imagination and my tendency to ask too many questions. At 8 years old, she collected seashells, read above her grade level, and believed every family disagreement could be solved with pancakes. I wanted the world to stay simple for her. I did not know adults were already making it complicated. Naomi planned the trip in late June. "Claire and Jenna want to rent a beach house for a few days," she told me. "They're bringing their kids, so Ellie can come too." I was scheduled to work that weekend. A major supplier audit had been moved forward, and I could not take time off without leaving my team in a difficult position. "I hate that I can't go." "It's okay. You need to work. Ellie will have fun." "You sure you don't want to reschedule?" "No, we need a break." She said we. I assumed she meant herself and our daughter. The morning they left, Ellie ran through the house in a yellow sun hat, carrying a pink backpack almost as large as she was. "Dad, I packed my goggles, my book, and my shark pajamas." "That sounds like everything you need." "I also packed 3 snacks in case Mom forgets." Naomi laughed. "I'm standing right here. You forget snacks sometimes." I watched them load the car. Naomi had packed more luggage than I expected for a 4-day beach trip. A large suitcase, a garment bag, a new beach tote, a small makeup case she normally used for weddings or formal events. I noticed, and I ignored it. Before Naomi got into the driver's seat, she kissed me. "Try not to work all weekend. Try not to let Ellie eat only ice cream." "No promises." They drove away. I stood on the porch until the SUV disappeared around the corner. The first day went normally. Ellie sent me pictures of the ocean, a sandcastle, a plate of fried shrimp, her feet in the surf. Naomi sent a photo of her holding a drink on the deck. I could not see anyone else in the picture. I assumed Claire had taken it. The next day, I called during dinner. "Dad!" "Hey, sea monster. How was the beach?" "Amazing. I found a shell that looks like a tiny ear." "That is a strange thing to be excited about." "It's a special ear." Naomi laughed in the background. "Put Mom on. She's talking to Uncle David." I stopped moving. "Uncle who?" "Uncle David. He's Mom's friend." Naomi took the phone. "Hey, Peter. Who is Uncle David?" A pause. "Oh, David is one of Jenna's friends. Ellie calls everyone Uncle." That was not entirely untrue. Ellie had called my best friend Uncle Mark for years, but she had never casually invented relatives. I thought this was a girls' trip. It is. David's family is staying nearby, that's all. I heard a man laugh somewhere behind her. "I'll call you later. Ellie needs to get ready for bed." The call ended before I could say anything else. I stared at my phone for a long time. Naomi and Ellie came home on Monday afternoon. Ellie ran inside carrying a plastic bucket filled with shells, a stuffed dolphin, and enough sand in her shoes to create a small beach inside our hallway. "Dad, look what I got." "You brought half the Atlantic Ocean home." "Only the good part." Naomi carried bags into the kitchen. She looked tired, but not tired from travel. She looked tense. "Dad, I took pictures on Mom's old tablet." Naomi turned around sharply. "Ellie, sweetheart, Those are just silly pictures. But Dad likes pictures. Of course he does. Maybe later. That was the moment I knew. I'd like to see them now. Naomi looked at me. Peter, Ellie is tired. Let her settle in. I can look at vacation photos with my daughter. Ellie held the tablet out to me. There are lots. Mom said not to show you the blurry ones, but I think they're funny. Naomi's eyes closed for 1 second. 1 second was enough. I sat beside Ellie on the couch. The first pictures were exactly what I expected. Ellie in the waves, a beach house porch, plastic cups of lemonade, a pile of towels, Claire's daughter Madison building a sandcastle. Then I swiped to the next photograph. Naomi was sitting on the beach beneath a striped umbrella. A man sat beside her. His hand rested on the back of her chair. That's Uncle David, Ellie said. He's nice. He helped me find starfish. I forced myself to breathe. Did you have fun with him? Yeah. He has a boy in my school, Tyler. You know, the boy who always wears dinosaur shoes? I knew exactly who she meant. Tyler Collins was in Ellie's 2nd grade class. I had seen his father at school pick up several times. David Collins. Uncle David said he might take us on a boat next time. Naomi stood near the kitchen doorway. Her arms were crossed tightly over her chest. I did not look at her. Not yet. Did Mom say anything about showing these pictures to me? Ellie looked down at the tablet. She said not to show you the ones with Uncle David because you might misunderstand. The room went silent. Ellie did not understand what she had said. Naomi did. You didn't do anything wrong, Ellie. I didn't. No, sweetheart. You showed me pictures from your vacation. That is always okay. Why don't you go wash up? I'll make grilled cheese for dinner. With extra cheese? Extra cheese. She ran upstairs. Only after her door closed did I turn toward Naomi. You told our daughter to hide photographs from me. I didn't tell her to hide them. She said you told her not to show me pictures with David because I knew you'd make something out of it. Who is David Collins to you? Naomi looked down. He's a friend. Friends do not need to be hidden from your husband. Peter, it is complicated. No. Complicated is a mortgage. Complicated is raising a child. This is a choice. We got close. When? Through the school. How long? She began to cry. Almost a year. Almost a year. Almost a year of school events, birthday parties, parent emails, conversations at pickup lines where I had assumed everyone was simply being friendly. Almost a year of Naomi seeing another man while our daughter played with his son. Was his wife on the trip? No. What did she think he was doing? Naomi did not answer. What did she think? He told her he was visiting his brother. I felt something inside me go quiet. Not because the pain disappeared, because the uncertainty did. You are going to sleep in the guest room tonight. Peter, please. We are not discussing this in front of Ellie. We are not going to ask her questions. We are not going to make her feel like she did something wrong, and you are not going to contact David until I have spoken to an attorney. You can't tell me who to contact. You are right. I cannot control you, but I can decide what I will accept in my home and what I will do to protect our daughter. That night, after Ellie fell asleep, I sat at the dining table with the tablet. I did not search through Naomi's phone. I did not question Ellie again. I reviewed only the photographs my daughter had voluntarily shown me. I saved copies of the pictures that showed Naomi and David together. In one photo, David's arm was around Naomi's waist. In another, they were standing on the beach while Ellie and Tyler played nearby. In a third, Naomi was smiling at him in a way I had not seen directed at me in a long time. The most painful image was not even romantic. It showed Ellie sitting between them at an outdoor restaurant, holding a menu and smiling. They looked like a family in a photograph I had never agreed to be removed from. The next morning, I called a family law attorney. Her name was Victoria Lane. Your first priority is your child's emotional safety, she said after I explained the situation. Do not use her as a source of information. Do not ask her to choose sides, and do not make sudden decisions about parenting arrangements without proper advice. I don't want Ellie to carry this. Then keep her out of the adult facts. Victoria advised me to preserve the photographs, document what Naomi had admitted, and organize the family records I already had access to. You need to think about housing, finances, parenting schedules, school routines, and communication boundaries. I hated how practical it all sounded, but practical things were what kept children safe when adults made emotional messes. That afternoon, I called a child psychologist, Dr. Marin Wells' office. I need advice about helping an 8-year-old through a separation without giving her information she is too young to carry. I was not trying to build a case against Naomi. I was trying to make sure Ellie still felt like a child. Later that week, I contacted David Collins' wife. Her name was Rachel. I found it through the school's parent directory, where both of us had listed contact information for class events. I stared at her number for nearly an hour. Then I called. Hello? Rachel Collins. Yes. My name is Peter Lawson. Our children are in the same class. Oh. Hi. Is everything okay? I took a breath. I need to speak to you about something serious, not around the children, not over text. There was a long pause. What is this about? I believe your husband and my wife were together on a beach trip last weekend. Rachel did not speak. David was with his brother. That is what Naomi told me you believed. Her breathing changed. Do you have proof? I have photographs. I would prefer to show you in person, without either child present. Okay. We met at a cafe on the other side of town. It was quiet. Rain tapped softly against the windows. A few people sat with laptops and coffee, unaware that two strangers at a corner table were about to watch their lives divide into before and after. Rachel arrived in a dark coat with her hands wrapped tightly around her purse strap. Peter, Rachel. I showed her the photos. I did not add conclusions she had not reached herself. I told her what Naomi admitted. I told her David had been on the trip. I told her that our children had been nearby. Rachel looked at the photograph of Naomi and David under the beach umbrella for a long time. He told me he was helping his brother move. I'm sorry. My son asked why his dad didn't bring him back a souvenir. I looked down at the table. Betrayal has consequences far beyond the person who discovers it. That was why I had refused to make Ellie explain anything. What are you going to do? I'm going to protect my daughter's routine, speak to my lawyer, and refuse to let Ellie become a messenger between adults. Rachel nodded slowly. I want to do that too. We did not become friends. We were simply two parents who understood that our children deserved better than the stories their spouses had told. Naomi finally admitted the full truth 2 days later. We sat at the kitchen table after Ellie had gone to bed. David and I thought we could keep it separate. Separate from what? From our families. You brought him on a vacation with our daughter. There is nothing separate about that. Ellie likes him. That is not a defense. Naomi started crying harder. You let her call him uncle. You asked her to keep photographs from me. You put her in the middle before she even understood there was a middle. I never wanted to hurt her. I believe you did not want to see yourself as someone who could, but wanting to avoid guilt is not the same as protecting a child. Naomi looked at me. Can we fix this? I thought about every time I had trusted her, every time I had worked late so she could have time with Ellie, every time she had used the word girls' trip while building another life around a secret. We can make sure Ellie is okay, but I cannot promise you that our marriage is. Naomi moved temporarily into her sister's apartment. We followed the plan Victoria helped us create. No conflict in front of Ellie, no questions about David. No asking Ellie what Naomi said or did during her parenting time. No using her to deliver messages. We kept her schedule stable. School in the morning, art class on Tuesdays, pancakes on Saturdays, bedtime reading every night. It was not enough to make everything normal, but it was enough to make her feel safe while normal changed. A few weeks later, Ellie came home from school quieter than usual. She put her backpack down and sat at the kitchen table without asking for a snack. That was unusual. How was school? Okay. Just okay, she nodded. Dad, yeah? Why do adults lie? There are questions no parent wants to hear. Not because you do not know the answer, because you know your child deserves an answer that does not break something inside them. I pulled out the chair beside her and sat down. Did I do something bad by showing you the pictures? No, Ellie, you did nothing bad. Mom was upset. Sometimes adults make choices they are not proud of. Then they get scared about telling the truth, so they lie? Sometimes they do, but the lie is never the child's responsibility. Was it my fault? No. None of this is your fault, not even a little. Ellie looked at her hands. Will Mom and Dad still love me? I felt my eyes sting. Always. That part does not change. Promise? Promise. Promise. The divorce was not fast. There were lawyers, calendars, financial documents, and difficult conversations about holidays. But there was no public confrontation. Rachel and I never involved the children in what we knew. David and Naomi had to face their own choices without being allowed to use their children as shields. David eventually moved out of his home. Naomi ended the relationship after the truth was exposed. Neither fact repaired what had been broken, and I refused to confuse their regret with a reason to erase the consequences. A year after the beach trip, Ellie and I took a short weekend trip of our own. Just 2 days at a lake cabin with Mabel, a fishing dock, board games, and absolutely no schedule. Ellie spent an hour trying to teach Mabel to fetch a floating toy. Mabel had different priorities. She thinks she's a lifeguard. She is a lifeguard, just one with very low standards. That night, Ellie and I sat on the porch under a blanket. Dad. Yeah, I'm glad I can tell you things. I looked at her. You can always tell me things. Even if they're blurry pictures. I smiled, especially blurry pictures. I used to think protecting my daughter meant keeping every hard truth away from her. I was wrong. Protecting her meant making sure she never had to carry the truth alone. It meant telling her she was not responsible for adult lies. It meant choosing stability over revenge, even when revenge might have felt easier. Naomi called it a girls' trip, but it was built on lies that involved 2 families and 2 children. The photographs did not just show me what my wife had done. They showed me what I had to do next. Not punish my daughter for adults who lied, protect her from ever believing that their lies were her fault. If this story moved you, subscribe for more stories about family, betrayal, boundaries, and choosing peace for the children caught in adult decisions. And tell us in the comments, if your child accidentally showed you evidence like this, would you confront your spouse immediately, or make a plan first?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. It's just me and you in this room full of silence. Heartbeat skipping. Every second feels timeless. Yeah. You trace your name across my shoulder. I read the lines like a secret you whisper quiet. We spend the morning trading sleep for new confessions. Yeah. Your touch rearranging pieces I tried to hide, never needed signs, just the way you lean closer. Every breath you take is pulling color to my mind. All of these walls start melting when you're closer. Gravity changes, I move the way you want. You don't have to ask, I'm already gone. Drawn where the edges blur, where we both belong. Our rhythm breathing uncontrolled. Write your story on my skin. You turn the ordinary gold. With every promise we begin. Lips spinning stories, truth behind every tease. You hold my gaze like a show no one else can see. We cross that line, no map, but we're both believers. In a world that's loud, your voice is the only melody. Maybe tomorrow's complicated, but tonight you're the pulse I needed. Let doubts fade, let distance break. We're right here on a resting ray. Story on my skin. You turn the ordinary gold. With every promise we begin. No way back. but your echoes in my veins. Oh, when the silence wraps